so type annotations needed, it says. Cannot satisfy underscore from Redis value. The following types implement trait from Redis value. Okay. So from Redis values, this RV thing here, it's saying that the type parameter RV has to have a trait from Redis value. There's a bunch of things that have that trait. In other words, in the Redis crate, there's a thing that says, okay, implement from Redis crate for all of these types. There's probably one for like the unit type as well. Okay, so I wonder, I mean, we can try to do what it says here, specifying generic arguments. Be like this. And then RV here would be just like the unit type. Does that make it happy? No. Expected string but found, okay. So if we go back to here and we don't pass by reference, we just move the values in. Now that doesn't work because now it's a moved value, so we can't use it here, right? So if we go back though, and we instead say that, okay, the type here is actually a reference to a string, does that make it acceptable? Okay. So I don't know why. I don't know a lot of things. There's potentially an infinite number of things to know, and I know a finite number of things. I don't know why it can't figure out that that's the type. But if we're doing that, then I don't think we need this let here. There we go. I made it happy. All right, now we can actually do the thing I was trying to do before the break. So we'll run docker compose up and rebuild everything. And then we'll be able to call the task API. We'll be able to post to it and see the whole thing work, which will be great. We are just a few steps away from actually being able to I mean, long term, this is not really the intent to be able to use the task API through the React admin front end, but in the short term, it may be very convenient for testing to be able to do it that way. So that's what I kind of want to do next. But to do that, we need to implement at least the get, probably get list handler and get one handler would be good to have. So how would get list handler work, right? So we would essentially want to list all the keys that start with task : I think that's how that would work, right? While we're waiting for the build. Oh, never mind. It's done. All right. So let us pull up Postman. So we're going to go over, do I have, okay, so there we go. So here's our post. And what we're going to do is we're going to take something. What's going to be the easiest way of doing this? Let's see. I guess copy this. Right, and so we're going to pass some JSON, right, to the tasks endpoint. We're going to pass in a payload and a URL, I think are the main things. And payload. Payload is the thing I just copied. I just need to make sure it's actually a JSON string, because I'll have to do some escaping here. Where is backslash on this keyboard? Hold on. Where is backslash? It's this key. Unfortunately, I don't. Maybe at some point I should put some labels on some of the keycaps that because I have a bunch of like blank keycaps because it's a very configurable keyboard. But maybe I should put some labels on that. So it's this key. There we go. All right. And then we're missing curly brace. Now, do I remember where curly brace, the closing curly brace is? I do. Cool. All right, doesn't like multi-line strings, so we'll have to remove the new lines there. All right. So this is the payload that we start off with for our task. And for the URL part, the way I'm typing that again, it's in here. All right. Oh, hey!
Icy Code just followed.
Icy Code, thank you for the follow. How are you doing today? Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Whatever you want to call it. All right. Well, thank you. And welcome to the channel. I don't know if you're new and have been lurking before, but I know you've not chatted before, so welcome. Feeling kind of popular today relative to other days. All right. Music has decided to be louder now. That's how it goes. All right. So anyway, so we're gonna post this record. Yeah, always down for a chill Rust stream. Well, you're in luck. Oh, sweet. Go for code
just followed.
Hello. Welcome. Go for code as well. Like I said, I'm feeling kind of popular today. I don't normally have this many people hanging out, but the more the merrier. What was I gonna say? So I've started this project. I guess it's been like a month or so now. I guess for the last 2 months I've been doing Rust streams. The keyboard layout. So it's something I found. So, long-time viewer, longish time viewer on the channel, Brainless Society. Hey, Death Row Gamer, welcome. Was talking about this keyboard, and I looked into it. It's the Moonlander, the ZSA Moonlander, and I decided if I'm gonna learn like this split keyboard, I'll like look for a more efficient layout besides QWERTY. And I came across this. It's a Colmac, like M something. It's kind of a variation on the Colmac. So this is what this main layer looks like. And then I have the keys here, like for nav and symbols to keep like everything near home row. And then numpad is here, and it also gives me function keys. And then I have an extra key for nav here on the right hand. And then a media here, which I haven't really used yet. Yeah, so it's taking some time to get used to. There's also like a util thing. Just gotta be careful about. There's a power button right there. How to kill my stream in one key press. And then a QWERTY escape right there. So it's gonna take some time to get used to. I still have it flat too, so I have the I don't have the webcam set up right now, but I have the stand for this too. But the manufacturer suggests that you just leave the split keyboard flat on your desk for like a month to get used to it before you like you can like turn it into like a 3D thing, so it's like conforming to your hands. So I'm going to do that at some point. But, and Go for Code, you said, I saw Rust plus Golang. I followed it. No Golang here yet. It's not something I've really played with, but Rust definitely. I didn't put Golang on the thing, right? I hope it didn't. That would be incorrect. False advertising. Okay, no, good. Just a graduate software dev now learning Golang, Rust, React.js. Yeah, well, it's many rabbit holes. Or the other metaphor analogy thing is like an iceberg. But I hope you like learning, because there is it goes on and on. But it's always like new problems to solve. Just don't let it bog you down. You just gotta keep at it. IC Code says, oh nice, split keyboards are great. I haven't tried Colmac yet. Yeah, so I am like 2 weeks into this, and I feel like I can feel two things. Like, even right off the bat, I could feel that this was going to be a better layout. Like, it is, I can sense that most of the keys I'm hitting are very close by. But on the other hand, there's still a lot of muscle memory that's, a couple of decades of using QWERTY that I have to overcome. You came from 4 years PHP, Java, JavaScript in school, and now finally in heaven. Yeah. I mean, it's been a long time since I've done PHP. That was like in the bad old days. We're talking like PHP 3, 4. So I won't go back. I mean, I think it's greatly improved, and I know some folks even like many years ago that were saying it improved quite a bit then, and some of it's just like culture. Yeah, Laravel. There you go. Exactly. There's PHP. There was at least a culture of people using PHP without a lot of experience and without a lot of the background necessary to do it well and responsibly, and then a lot of people that were left picking up the pieces. So that became a whole thing, and like a sense of that language got entangled with that. Laravel is fun, but if your teacher used old PHP, it's like hell. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I haven't touched PHP in a long while. For a number of years, I was doing Python for like work, and then for the last however many years it's mostly been TypeScript on Node.js, and then recently a little Java and some other things. But the great thing about doing these coding streams is that I can just use whatever I want. And it's been a number of years since I had done any amount of Rust, so I'm a little rusty and getting back into things and recalling things and figuring out stuff. So anyway, so I want to run this. Okay, well that's interesting. So it said an ID of 1. That's... Oh, right, because we don't have the counter, right? Because we hadn't exercised this endpoint since we accidentally wiped Redis, because I hadn't set up persistence when I set it up last time around. So this should mean that what we should see when I refresh this, we'll see a counter key here. We'll see our task 1, which will look basically the same. Oh, I missed data key. I forgot to add data key. So that, we'll see what that looks like. Okay, so we have a temp queue because presumably the worker is working on this task right now. We now have a task counter that's set to 1. We have task 1. So I'm guessing the HM set that we're doing right now will update the existing hash. So it didn't like wipe it, which is good, but I did miss the data key. So we do need to go back to the API. Hey, back to coding. And add data key to our create task input. Data key. Yep. No, it shouldn't be optional, actually. So I am using GitHub Copilot with this. I'm paying for that because it's sometimes, actually quite often, pretty helpful. It saves me some typing, and sometimes is really hilariously wrong. So we'll hold out for that. Okay, so I need to save that data key into our hash that we're creating. So we will do that number, and I don't need this line. Okay, so I think that should be good. No warnings or errors from Rust analyzers, so that's great. Was there something else that I'm forgetting? No, I don't think so. So let's rebuild. So we are using Docker Compose, and we have a common Docker file that all of our Rust containers are using. Much of this was supplied, again, by Brainless Society. Credit where credit is due. With some slight modifications to accommodate the fact that we have this like mono repo set up with a bunch of different microservice APIs that we're using this one Docker file to build. So we have like the service name parameterized. All right, this is gonna take, might actually be near done. So let's go over and look in Redis. Do I just want to, what's going on with the worker? Okay, so here's the task worker. Looks like it panicked because it didn't like something. Got task key, task 1. Got task data. Data key segments, payload. Does this look double encoded? Maybe the payload. And where's Postman? I have too many things open. Maybe this should actually not be a string. And I spent whole seconds escaping out the string, and maybe it doesn't need to be a string. Okay, so what we're gonna do, I think, is I'm just going to wipe out everything. This should be fine. Bye-bye. All right, and then in Docker, let me go back to VS Code actually. So, okay, this completed. Make sure that task worker is, the music cannot make up its mind. Is it going to be quiet? It's going to be loud? 5 minutes ago. So I'm going to restart the task worker to make sure that we are kind of in a good state. And then also the silence detection API shouldn't matter anyway because it's stateless. So task worker running 3 seconds ago. Let me clear the logs as well. There we go. So we should be in a good state. So and if I were to go back to Redis now and refresh, we should have no keys. Checks out. All right. Now, what am I looking for? Postman. All right, so we're going to send this request again. Maybe this will work. Nope. Oh, yeah. Good. Good. So, it's not going to work because we added in the struct that we are telling Axum / Serde whatever about. We're telling it that, hey, this key is supposed to be here, the data key, and then we didn't provide it in the body, so it gave us an error. It gave us a 422 unprocessable entity, which is kind of a code you don't see a lot, maybe, but the request was well formed, but was unable to be followed due to semantic errors, right? So it was JSON, but it was missing a key, and I think that is not inappropriate double negative. I think it's an appropriate status code. It's what Axum is giving us out of the box. All right, so we need a data key. So this is what is telling the task API where it should be looking in the response when it calls our other API. It's APIs all the way down, where it should be looking for the actual data. In the case of the segment silence detection API, it's looking for a key called segments. MENTS. There we go. So if I send that, all right, and so we see it returns immediately because it just queues up the work. So we see the payload again, and we see the URL we passed and the ID. How is Rust with API so far? I am now learning Golang to make Rust API that I'm going to do in Rust. So I may not be the best person to ask, given just you get to a point where a lot of things about languages kind of blurred together, and it's like you have a sort of intuition and a kind of oh, okay, well there are these differences, but otherwise it's basically the same. It's the same deal, the same kind of like you write one API in 5 languages, the 6th is not too different. I've only really used Axum. So Axum is a crate, and it's described as Axum is a web application framework that focuses on ergonomics and modularity. There's definitely some things that are like in other languages you might create a function or a method, right? And you get like a request and a response, or you get like a request object and you need to return a response, or however that works. At least with Axum, the process of creating the API, there's like specific things. It has these extractors that you use to be able to extract things you're interested in from the request or from your application state, like I'm doing here. So like I'm getting a JSON request body from like a post request, and I'm getting app state, and I've defined the shape of this data, right? So it's, at least for Axum, it seemed like it has seemed like it is a pretty well featured ergonomic is what they describe it as, and I think that makes sense. There are some things that there was a little bit of a learning curve. I don't know how many hours I am in this project right now at this point, but it took some time to be able to figure out like, oh, there's like a gotcha that you need to process certain things first or last. Like if we want the request body, we need to process that as the last argument to our function. And there are things like, okay, well, how do we ensure that we are like, there's different styles of return values you can do. Like you could just return JSON, or you could return a status code in JSON. You could also return headers, and you can there's a couple different ways of doing that. So there are, I wouldn't call them gotchas. It's more of my failure to be willing to actually sit down and read through all the docs. I would much rather just like start coding, and then when things go wrong, figure it out, at least in a context of coding something for myself. It's a bit different if if this is like, oh, I'm making a service and I need to be able to ship this to production. Like, this is not something that is going to be like that. And of course, it's different in a professional setting as well, because generally you're going to be, well, depending on circumstances, but often you're going to be working in the context of a team, and unless you are like piloting something new, the team is going to have tools and approaches and things, and hopefully have guidance on, how to get started on a thing the team is using. Or if it's a new thing, you're going to figure out as a team how to bring in some new technology and implement it, and what's going to work best for your use cases. Yeah. So, going good is maybe a more straightforward answer to the question that you asked. I have really no complaints. It's been fun. Okay, what was I doing? What did I just change? So we wiped out what was in Redis. Did I make this request? Okay, so assuming I did, there we go. Okay, so we have a counter. Has 1. That makes sense because it didn't exist before, so now it has a 1. So that is the number that we use to create the first task record, right? And here's that task record. So we've captured the values that were we made in the request from Postman, right? So segments, detect segment was the API URL, payload. This is the payload that we passed in. This looks right. So it looks like the way I set things up, that we did need, we just passed this in as an object, and it serialized it for us. So that all worked out, and it captured the ID here. And it looks like, oh look, it already finished. While I was busy yammering on, it made both API calls, right? So I made the first one, it got the cursor back. It made the second one, it captured the response from both and recorded it into our list for the task. So then if we wanted to make a different call, so here's something I've not pulled up today, and this kind of illustrates what I'm dealing with. Let me get this set up right and then go into OBS folder. So here's my OBS folder. So like when I'm streaming, I also record locally, which facilitates a lot of the stuff that I'm trying to do. And so I have 471 items here. This disk, let's see, can I pull this out without revealing all the sort of details of all my folders? There we go. All right. So my striped NVMe. So I have 2 terabyte, I think. No. Yes. Yeah, 2 terabyte NVMe drives that I have striped together to make video editing faster. So I have 4 terabytes roughly, depending on how you're counting, of disk space, and I'm currently using 2.5 on all these video files. I have begun the process of archiving a lot of these to S3. I do want to actually automate that, like as part of this tool that I'm building. But right now I'm kind of doing that manually. I have like a script, a PowerShell script that's doing that. But yeah, so yeah, we have all of these video files, including like from today, the 24th, yeah, in here. Lots of files, lots of like 2.5 terabytes of video and audio. Oh right, so I pulled that up on purpose. Hydrate, yes, thank you. I will. Maybe there should be like a cooldown on that. Yeah. I'll take another sip. So I don't normally, on these Sunday morning streams, run the webcam because I don't want to be on camera at like 8 o'clock in the morning. But what you don't see is I have a glass of water here. At least after I finish my coffee in the morning, I have a glass of water, and I'm drinking water quite regularly. Because talking a lot kind of dries you out. So, but I do. So the other streams I do during the week are in the evening, my time. I'm streaming usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'm not coding though. I'm doing like gameplay stuff. I'm playing some video games that I like. So tomorrow, for instance, I'm playing GT Great Tech New Horizons, modded Minecraft. Just got started on that, and then Wednesday playing Cyberpunk 2077. Doing a new campaign there as well, so 2 new things going. And then Friday I'm doing Oxygen Not Included. I actually have a schedule on Twitch under my profile that has all that info if you're interested in knowing more about that. Okay, so this seems to have all worked. I did want to right. So the reason I actually pulled up the file browser though is I wanted to grab the name of another file, and we can process it as well and see like a different thing processed. So like if we look at the first file from today, right? And if I were to copy the name there, and we'll put that into our URIs list. Like so. So we'll create a new task, and to process the file from this morning, and we'll detect silences, and so that was queued, and then we go over to Redis and we refresh. So you can see now the counter says 2, checks out, and we have a new task 2, that has our payload in it. And we should see a task 2 data at some point. Now let's go over to Docker. And we look at the task worker. Okay, so it looks like it's processing it. If we were to go back over to the silence detection API now, we're waiting for FFmpeg to scan the file. So each of those files is like a 20-minute long segment of video and audio. There we go. So there's the result from FFmpeg, which we then use regex to parse out, and then that ends up going into here. So then we have a list of segments. So we can see we had a nice long silence from basically the beginning of the video to 395.108 seconds into the video. The way I have this set up, where the task is, like I told it to start to process track 2. Track 2 is where the microphone audio is. So that gets passed to FFmpeg, and FFmpeg is told, look at track 2. Yeah, we did it. It actually works. Thanks for the GGs. I need to update the emote to use the little the chibi, the chibi Sabin as well, like the others. I'll do that at some point. Anyway, okay, so success is great. What's next? we can't just be done. We can't rest on our laurels. We need to move on to the next thing. The next thing is going to be, so we've gotten this post endpoint working, and we want to then implement something to list the tasks. right? So right now we have that endpoint, but it doesn't do anything. Okay, so it says to do, get the list of records from Redis. Okay, that's a likely thing. And then return it. Cool. All right. So what if I were to just do this? What would it write? Sometimes it does this, right? Where, okay, I bet the next line is just going to be another empty. Yeah. Okay, well, that was not exactly what I was expecting, but yeah, that makes sense. Why is my mouse so slow? Okay. The resolution changed on my mouse for some reason. Anyway. So, if we want to get the list of records from Redis, the first thing we need to do is get a hold of the connection. So, copy paste. We don't need the queue name. So we're gonna... There's nothing wrong with copy paste in moderation. Like, once we start like making another API that also is like needing a Redis connection, that's what I'm gonna be like, okay, well, we've repeated ourselves too many times. It's time to, you know, clean that up. And then things like, okay, well, we need the state. There's nothing to do but just to say, okay, we need the state. Okay, so this should get us our connection. And then we need to get the records from that connection. Let me save first to make sure I'm not forgetting something. Okay, I'm not seeing any red squigglies. That's good. All right, so this is what Copilot thinks we should do. So match con.lrange. So let me pull up the Redis docs because I have no idea what lrange does. I can guess, right, that it has something to do, well, sometimes L means left. Sometimes it means list. So what does lrange mean? Okay, it even exists. It's not hallucinated. Excuse me. Okay, so returns the specified elements of the list stored at key. So this is not going to work for us because we don't actually have a list of tasks, right? We do, well, we have a list, sort of. We have a list of things in the queue, but that's not what we're interested in here. We're not interested in listing the things that are in the queue. We want to actually list all of the keys that match a pattern, right? So this is going to be returns the specified elements of the list stored at key. So this is like if we wanted to look at all the items that were in the queue, we could use lrange to do that, but we don't want to use that for this. So how do we list things that match a pattern? Like list all the keys that match a pattern. Well, there's a keys command. Returns all the keys matching pattern. This might be it. Okay, supported club style patterns. Consider keys as a command that should only be used in production environments with extreme care and may ruin performance. It's intended for debugging and special operations. Don't use keys for if you're looking for a way to find keys in a subset. Consider scan. Okay, let's look at scan then. Scan. Scan command and closely related scan, hscan, zscan are used in order to incrementally iterate over a collection of elements. Scan iterates the set of keys in the currently selected Redis database. Okay. Scan iterates elements, iterates fields, zscan. Okay, so I think we want to use scan here. Now, in the Redis crate, there are like high-level and low-level commands. Ooh, what is a sandaconda? It must be special. Maybe I should try to catch it with an ultra ball. Just Stand by 1 second while I do Pokemon stuff. Ultra ball. All right. Anyone watching this YouTube video later is going to be confused about what's going on. All right. Anyway. So yeah, low-level commands and then high-level commands. If I wanted to look at the high-level commands, how would I see what they are? Functions, commands. So we're interested in like a scan command. I'm not seeing. Is this alphabetical? No. Why would it be alphabetical? So Control F. SCAN. Scan. Okay. So there's scan and there's scan match. Okay, what does that do? Ooh, I caught it. Awesome. I'll have to look at that later. Okay, what does... Okay. That is a very long line. Wait, is that it? Okay. Never mind then. Okay, well, we're just gonna write some code and we'll see what works. Using yeah, using the pattern, yeah, with scan underscore, was it matches? Match or matches? All right. Okay. So now I've persuaded Copilot to write this code. Now let's first see if this actually like is anything. Okay. So it found a Redis iterator. Okay. What is iter? It's a Redis iterator. We got a batch. We have a cursor. And we have a next. Okay. Interesting. Now, what methods? Okay, we have like an all, an any. Oh, these are like filtering operations, right? We have different things we can do to like every item in the return from the iterator, right? Can we just do like into? No. Okay. Figure out what we're gonna do with this iterator. Let's look at this struct again, and it's, so we have an impl something iterator for this struct. So that's why we're getting all of those methods, right? Because there's this iterator type, core iter traits iterator. Yeah, so there's I said type, but a trait. A trait for dealing with iterators. This is the main iterator trait. For more about the concept of iterators, generally please see the documentation. You may want to know how to implement iterator. Nope, because it's implemented right here. So what does this actually do? So it reads something from the batch. Okay, and it returns it. If cursor is 0, return none. Otherwise, it makes some kind of commands with the cursor, and it requests packed command, probably what the P stands for there, packed command. And then self.batch. Okay, so we just, it looks like the intent of this is to iterate over all the results, regardless of batches. Right, so this kind of abstracts over the idea of having to go back and pull multiple things. Hey, Brainless Society. I was just talking about you earlier. Giving you credit for the Docker file that we're using. How is your Christmas Eve? Or your holidays in general? Good. Well, you're welcome. Martinator's still here. What is that emote? Jammin'? Yeah, I like the, so I'm just using, that word is used too much. I'm using Pretzel, and we're listening to the lo-fi station. Yep, I'm shelling out money for y'all to be able to have some nice background music while I ponder. Brainless says, all good, just having lunch with the folks, now preparing to play some Mind Over Magic. You are not addicted. Oh, I like that animated love emote. Kind of jealous of all of these cool animated emotes. I tried to make one. It didn't go so good. I need to do some actual art myself. Trying to get DALL-E to to do animated art is not working. Over 80 hours already, and it's been a week. That's a bit. That's a bit of time. Yeah, I have it. Did I put it on my Steam wish list? I was definitely looking at it. I have I have so many games already to play, and I just can't. I gotta deal with the ones in front of me before I look at the next ones. At some point, we'll have to like switch away from Oni, take a break from that. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we just keep doing that same colony forever, and ever and ever. Where is my wish list? Oh, it's under store. You should. It's really good. If you like Oni, it's a must-have. Let me double check that it's on my wish list so I don't forget about it. There it is. I also have KSP2 on my wish list. I just don't know about spending $40 on an early access game. It is looking good though. I was watching what is his name? Newt something or other. Newtworks? Is that it? Playing KSP2. It was looking pretty good. Not too many bugs. I like regional prices that you paid $8 for. Oh yeah, I didn't look at the price. Which maybe tells you something about me. But let's see. Mind Over Magic. It's on sale now. $22.49. We'll see. We'll see. Now I gotta wait for you to become an expert at it so you can coach me. Okay, so the thing that I've been thinking about here is that, like, okay, we have this iterator, and we could probably just consume the whole thing somehow and return it. That means we're not going to do pagination here. We're just going to return all the records. Now, Oni is currently at 3 USD down here. Interesting. Pretty sure I paid. I don't know. I don't remember. I bought Oni quite a while ago. Can I see that? I have 190 hours in Oxygen not included now. Let's see. Maybe if I scroll down all the way. Why is there not a scroll to bottom? Alright, well, that's not going to happen. Nope. I give up. Alright, anyway. What I am concerned about is, like, okay, we can get the list of records and we can just get all the records. Now, practically speaking, there's probably not going to be that many tasks. So we can just return everything. It's probably fine. At some point, we may want to, like, implement pagination. I don't know how that's going to work with this. We may have to do something else. You hope Mind Over Magic replayability is good. I feel I am a few hours away from finishing your first run. What, 80 hours in? Yeah. That's a good amount of time to sink into a first playthrough. Does it seem like there's, like, different routes to take? I looked at it briefly. Like, I looked at the summary of it, but I've not looked at really any gameplay of it. Yeah, just completed all of the research and upgraded almost all your mages. Interesting. Okay. Anybody know off the top of their head how to take an iterator and turn it into a vector? In Rust. Let's see. Let's see if Copilot can fix it. You used to know that? I don't think I ever knew that. Okay. Oh, collect? Maybe collect? Future Highway and Icy Code coming in. With the responses. Thank you. I wonder if I can just do I need the type annotation, or will it be inferred? I think it's inferred because I have the type annotation here. Yeah, me too. My memory's not great. That's why I write things down. And except sometimes there are certain things, like people will say something or we'll be talking about something, and I will remember that forever. And sometimes not. Okay, so how are we returning? What we want to do is snooze the ad. And how does the response format need to be? So what I need this to do is I need this to have a similar kind of format as what we're doing for the other APIs that we're doing that are being called from React Admin, right? So in the short term, I want to be able to use this API from React Admin. Some of this long term. Your boss asked you the other day, remind me, did we discuss about something already? And I was like, are you really asking me to remember something? Come on, you know me already. I mean, is said boss like someone that has manager in their title? They should have notes. I don't know what an Oddish is, but it's some kind of Pokemon, and it's in chat right now. Could be caught. Engineering manager? Yes. Well, as an engineering manager, it's the engineering manager's fault. It's always the manager's fault. Okay, so like in Cred API, we are... How are we doing things? So like when we get list, what does the response look like? Prepared results. It's just a list, isn't it? Results into map collect. Okay, we are just literally returning a list. He used to be the tech lead of the team when I joined, so you have a pretty good relationship. All right. That's good. Oddish escaped. All right. So we're just returning the vector. Can we do that? Control R is not the right key. Fortunately, Control R, Control S is not a combination of keys, so it's fine. We don't get any squigglies, so I guess this is fine. Like a house on fire. This is fine. Okay, so if I were to like build this, maybe we have a thing. So how are we doing? Amazingly, there's like more than a dozen people here, according to Twitch. So strange. Thanks all for coming and hanging out. We're probably gonna wrap pretty soon because I need to eat at some point, and otherwise I'd have to take another break and get that stretch in, get some more water and stuff. And we could go another hour, but I don't think I want to. I think I'd rather have lunch. Let me take a peek at who's in the chat right now. Anyone I don't know? I see a couple of names that I know aren't, well, at least as far as I know, aren't bots. Got some lurkers. So I appreciate you coming out, hanging out, listening in, whatever you're doing. Okay, so we have a build. Let's try. Let's see. We'll make a new thing here. Over here, we'll do a GET request to our URL, and we'll send that. Okay, well that is sort of right, except not really. We have successfully gotten everything that starts with task colon. Okay, so back to the Redis docs. I can snooze ads for a little bit longer. Although people are going to start getting pre-roll ads if we don't stop soon. Brainless says, I am finishing a refactoring of one of our apps, replacing memcache for Redis to allow people with M1 to develop properly in the back-end apps. I'm not sure what you mean by M1. Tempted to refactor the Docker file and make it multi-stage, development and production ones, etc. Well, I mean, it seems like something you've done before. You did for me. Well, you provided one anyway. For, Apple M1 chips. Okay, that makes sense. I don't know anything about that. I know nothing about Apple. All right. Well, I do want to find... There we go. All right. What was I looking for in the Redis docs? I was looking for... Oh yeah, how to scan, right? So memcache won't work on that architecture. Ah, that's inconvenient. Okay, how do we okay, the match option. This is what we're trying to do. Similarly to behavior of keys, there's a pattern. Can we match Redis? Yeah. Redis is great. It's very powerful. Lots of things to do. Okay, if I go back to keys, it talks about what how the pattern works. Okay, so I think I could do a range. Let's try this really quick. All right, I've snoozed the ads as much as I can to get us through to the end of the stream. I do want to make this work, though. It's always great to have kind of... I mean, on the other hand, it's great to like leave something kind of incomplete so that when you come back to it, you have like a thread to pick up on. So that is a piece of advice that I'm not going to take for myself. What I'm trying to accomplish is I'm trying to list specifically ultimately I want to list the actual records, but for now I'm just trying to list all the keys that match a certain pattern. Kind of pointless to have the pattern there twice, but yeah, I'm pretty sure all I need to do is remember where on my keyboard square brackets are. That wasn't it. There it is. And then we'll do 0 through 9 star, except with the actual minus sign. There we go. Yep, using scan already. Yes. Well, I looked at the keys docs and it was like, you shouldn't use this. And instead, you should use scan. So we're using scan with match, and specifically the Rust crate for it has this high-level construct that we can use that will like do the cursor stuff behind the scenes. So one thing we want to do is actually make it to do here to actually get the records. Right, so that will be the thing that we'll leave for next time. So let me save this. See, because what we were getting before, if I go back to Postman, what we were getting before is we were getting all the keys for like the counter and then like the embedded data. So, but all I want are the things where it's the task and then the ID. So those are the actual task record keys, and that's what I'm looking for. And then what we'll do is we'll, next time, on saving codes, we will get the records from those keys and then return that for our list, our get endpoint. Okay, so let's give it one last go around. Would task : oh yeah, plus is probably what it's supposed to be. I wonder if it's too late to actually get that in. Let's check the docs. Plus, well, it doesn't mention. I don't know. It's not well specified. Yeah. We can try. It says it's glob style. I mean, if it did work like in a regex, oh, also that's wrong. Well, we'll see. Let's see where we're at. All right, so we should be. Okay, so if I run this now, failure. I broke it. Let's go look at the logs. I think though that this is going to be where we're going to stop, because of course this could just go on forever, but yeah, I think it didn't like the pattern. So next time around, we're gonna figure out what's wrong, and that'll be great. So again, this is a project up on GitHub. I will be pushing. Let's do that right now. Let's go ahead and just like push our work so far. There we go. That's pushed up. So up here on GitHub, Glowing Telegram is the project. It's open source, AGPL 3.0. We are also going to plug the other things before I forget. I want to thank everyone for coming out today, especially early on, Marksy and Foxy Blue, and then later the Martinator 019 for coming out and supporting the channel, and of course everyone else too. It's great to have you all come out, whether you're just listening and watching or chatting, asking questions, talking in any way you're participating. It's greatly appreciated. But that is going to be it.